Who dat?
Who that?
Who dat? Who dat that summoneth us to the land? Where dost thou streameth?
Who dost thou streameth to?
Who dost thou streameth to, and forsooth, why, and
Forsooth?
wherefore?
Art thou, forsooth, the dreamers of streaming?
I'm gonna
Hello,
start
brother.
adding this kind of language usage to my D&D characters to make it more authentic.
Yes, that's a good idea. Speaking of which, similarly, you and I have both reread recently much of the Dragonlance Chronicles in preparation of Wizard of the Coast's bringing the Kryn universe into the fold. And I was reading the other night this part where the adventurers in that fantasy series, they met, like, what were they, griffins or something, and they were using the worst old English I've ever heard. Like, I had to look it up. I was like, they're just full on wrong, aren't they? And they were full on wrong. Like, wouldst thee want thee own bed or something like that? It's terrible.
Oh, like this is dialogue in the Dragonlance novels, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are people just looking at a picture of your screen right now? Or are they looking at our smiling faces?
They should be looking at our smiling faces right now.
I can't
but
tell
what are you
because
looking at?
I'm looking at Ecamm Live and I just see your desktop.
Oh no. Ecamm Live. Can you switch Ecamm Live to can you switch it to show a different view? I know this is an issue. You can also go to twitch.tv/Bivins Brothers Creative if you want to kind of. Of course it's going to be behind.
At times. Oh yeah.
Out of time,
Okay.
out of spot.
There we
Yeah,
are.
it's frustrating. So thank you everybody. Meaning nobody. Thank you for patience. Because each week I feel like I get a little bit closer, and then, just like a production, you kind of need to be there a half hour to an hour ahead of curtain so that you get your stuff right. And I had a breakthrough last night, but then I couldn't get it to work this day. So testing.
You had a breakdown.
1, 2, 3. We're gonna eventually get it so that it's so cool, so slick. Yeah,
Guys,
last night. And then I'm going to make a video on how I did it, because if it stumps me this bad, I'm sure it stumps a lot of people this bad. And I can talk very small sentences when I need
to help others with their large sentences. Okay, great. Well, welcome every person.
Person.
To our channel, Bivins Brothers Creative. We're just chatting. For the past few weeks, we've been chatting about our upcoming application for D&D or tabletop role-playing game players. A notation and a notation tool, a journaling tool. So, with all that. We'll just skip past all the introductions, as we've done them a few times now. If you want to know, go back in time and watch the beginning.
Yeah.
We're still working in Notion. We're going to be troubleshooting and building a database and building a proof of concept. We're continuing that work today.
That's our
So feel free to, if you join this chat and are like, I want to talk to them about things that I want to know, please jump in the chat and just chat with us. In the meantime, brother,
chatting.
Let's kick this off.
Let's roll it.
With
Ooh, slick as ice. Yeah, let's dive in. Let's dive in. Though I will say that one upgrade is that we're also streaming to YouTube at the same time as Twitch, so that's fun. In the hopes that other people might just be like, what are those two doing? Oh man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you like YouTube better than Twitch. We're
Do I?
agnostic.
Yeah.
So
Oh
maybe,
yeah.
maybe someone out there is like, oh man, I go to bed every night and wake up every morning just loving YouTube. We get it. We get it.
I kind of
Or
do.
maybe you're like, man, Twitch and me, we're ride or die. And you're about to die. We're coming to your house, me and Twitch, to kill you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we'll eat after your death. We'll eat all
With
your
kindness.
peanut
With
butter
kindness.
stores. What?
With kindness, I needed to, just in case there's you get flagged by something. We're not actually coming to your house. We're not going to come to your house.
Oh yeah. No, we're not going to literally kill you, except with our
Kindness.
bare hands.
Mm-hmm. And kindness. Anyway, here we've got something. We've got something going on. It's called Campaign Companion. This is Notion, as I've said many times. Now I have to kind of look down. Forgive me for looking down. So rude. However, I have two computers for every boy and girl.
Just start us off right with a little happy dragon.
Non-binary. Yeah.
Okay, where did we
Oh,
where
God.
did we leave off?
Yeah.
Bird?
This is where we left off. We are creating currently. We're kind of right about what you know. So we are creating a campaign called Barovia, and the idea is eventually going to be that this is going to be a template that you'll be able to choose, and it will have everything that you need in here to really take notes, make journal entries, track money, characters, potions, all this other stuff, and more. And we're going to start with this Notion template. I want to get rid of this guy. I don't like that. I don't want mine. So yeah, last time we were talking about, made a couple of changes. We added this idea of players so that the campaign would start with this. We had another property. Let's see. Oh yeah, we had the create date. The campaign, the sort of umbrella campaign database, which again is going to be called Barovia. It is fairly bare bones as far as properties go. It's mostly sort of just a compartment for all the other databases inside it, which include the journal, and what did we also have? NPCs, and we have locations, and we tied locations and journals together. Let's go ahead and look at this. We tied in locations, we tied in NPCs that you might meet in a journal, if you're writing things, and then we kind of started thinking about the idea of tags. Then we were like, well, maybe we should just kind of leave that for last because we couldn't quite fit it in, but we will eventually. What was the one that I was using the most? Our Time in Barovia, maybe. Yeah, let's look at this one.
Yeah, that was where you were trying to actually create a folder idea, where this is the thing that will encompass.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Individual
So yeah,
journal entries.
exactly. We have a couple of. Let me move this here. We have a couple of these. Get brighter. We had a couple of ideas here. And it seemed to me that it would be nice in this page, in this view, this database view, that you could, when you're creating something new, that you could go ahead and create a folder. Because that's the way Campaign Companion is going to be set up, right? That's the way it is set up. So to be able to have, a folder and then put things inside it. So really the thought is like, how do we do that? How do we do that? And then, we're going to need a way to kind of drag and drop things and maybe organize things. Could certainly organize them by folder, and then, but we kind of want to make some big decisions here as far as like, do we want to have sub journal entries? And it sounds like we do, because we want to be able to categorize them into a folder eventually, right?
Right. Yeah. So I think semantically, what you're the way that I'm parsing what you're saying is, um, like you said, you'll have a button over here, create new, an option to create new folder or create new entry. Both are databases. The folder is a
Yep.
database of entries, but I don't. If this is what you mean, and then so you have folder level, entry level. Entry level is where your note taking happens, where your tagging happens, whatever, blah blah blah. All of your uh, what are these called?
Properties.
All your properties are kind of put into that level, and this is a container for as many of these as you want. Now, what I don't foresee right now, and I could be completely wrong about this, we might find out, is that you have the folder level, the journal entry level, and then a sub journal entry level. That
Right.
I don't envision. If that's
Okay.
what you're saying.
I'm not. I'm not saying that. In fact,
Okay.
I 100% agree with you. The only like, not even a hiccup, but the only thing that we may have to consider is, let's back up so that we know where we are real quick.
Notion doesn't really do folders in the sense of like Dropbox Paper has a folder.
It does not. It does not. So we have to make do. A lot of people like the fact that there are no folders, but we want to have that concept. We want to carry that into the app that we're eventually building. So we have to kind of keep that in mind. We have to have an assimilation of that. No, an amalgamation. Something.
Sure.
But so let's take a look again. So here's again. I think what will be important is to kind of keep knowing where we are. The more that we know where we are at any given time, that's going to be important. If you watched last week, you noticed that I got lost, right? Like it's easy to do.
Right.
You can get all messed up around just trying to get in and out of this place. So I'm just gonna back up a couple places. Here's our umbrella. Here's the campaign called Barovia, and inside here we're calling this navigation because whether we pull this information onto this page or we always have like go to the journal, go to the NPCs, go to that. We'll decide that later, but right now we're calling it navigation. So here's our second level. Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, go ahead and finish the thought, but let's come back to the navigation after you're done.
Sure. So here's what I consider not a second level, but if you're looking at a mind map and Barovia is in the middle, so you're going to have some offshoots. You're going to have journals, NPCs, items, money, stuff like that. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. How nice. Yeah. So far I've spent so much energy just so Evan can write on the screen, just to get this to work. It's very important. Anyway, so here's the journal entry node, right, which you just showed. And this is where we want to have folders, and we want to have and we want to be able to organize in that way. So the first question is, do we have a combination of folders and straggling journal entries, which could very well happen. It really could happen. So
I think we have
what
to
do you
allow
think?
for that use case,
Yeah. Mhm.
right?
Me too. I do too. Okay. I do too. So
let's get back to, if you're done, and if you're not done, keep going.
Yeah.
If you are, let's go back to navigation real quick.
Mhm.
So what, and if you want to bring up Campaign Companion, we can kind of show what that navigation, kind of what we're basing this off of.
Yes. Yes. And that was
Campaign dash companion.
Webflow.io.
Oh, look what I done did. I psyched you out.
Oh, girl. Look at that. Look at that. How
So you
nice.
should be able to click in. Actually, I think you can click into any of these.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
So
fun.
So yeah, so I added that dash, that campaign. view, a user would come here and say, "Oh yeah, I've got all these campaigns that I'm doing. That's the one that I want," and you go then into the campaign interface. So go ahead and go into the interface.
Uh-huh.
And what I meant was, so when you're saying navigation, the way that this is currently structured anyway is the default view is the journal view. Here's your text editor, and here's your this is the level at which you will create an entry. And it's not depicted in this UI yet, but you will be able to then take an entry and put it into a folder,
Right.
either by taking that button, creating that button, or I think you can do it here too. Anyways, so that's one part of the quote navigation. The second part is over here.
Yep.
And then from here, you can manage your currency, your weapons, your armor, your consumables, your miscellaneous stuff, and your NPCs. So what I wanted to address here on your navigation, flip on back to Notion, is this something missing from the current UI? Or is this
No.
purely a database item?
Right now it is. So we actually pulled back a little bit, I think, last week as far as trying to make it look exactly, look closer to this.
Right.
But we'll go back to it. We can go back to it. The main thing because I think I put these two under like all the other stuff originally. So in Notion though, I can put this anywhere I want. This most recent journal entries is kind of an approximation of that most recent journal entries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, will we be able to like click on Barovia and just get to a brand new item here? I'm not sure yet. Maybe, and we can definitely do this sort of sidebar with showing off the folders and the items that you need. But yes, this here, with all of this navigation and this sort of thing would be if I, So here's a question: what would you call this button? I mean, it really is all the other stuff, but what is?
It's the tracker. This whole component
Tracker. Okay.
is what I call the tracker, and
Great.
you're tracking your inventory and you're tracking your NPCs,
Yeah. All right.
as well as an inventory includes cash, money making.
Heading toggle. Let's just do this for now. And we'll call this tracker. And again, just an approximation. But we're going to throw these guys in here now.
Sick.
And that way, again, not what we want to see yet, but hopefully we'll get closer. Now we've got, when you get to this first page, you've got navigation, journal entries. They can be on the side. And then we've got the other button, the tracker button. And then when you click on that, you're going to see these other buttons, right? Which can eventually be buttons. We'll get there too. But right now they are just pages to the databases, right?
Got it.
Does that make sense? Does that help?
I think so.
Because I'm hiding this. I can also actually, But you know what? In this UI, you don't actually hide this. This always stays, which is
right.
Which is going to be why people are going to love this app, I think, because you can just jump in there. Mm-hmm.
And this was particularly, so we were playing, speaking of Barovia, we were playing Strahd the Sunday, and I had a very real moment where I currently, my journal taking practice looks like a Mac text edit file that I have just typed my notes into in perpetuity all the way down. It's absurd. And the thing is, when you're a player taking notes, you never know what NPC you're going to meet that's going to come back to you at any time.
Right.
So, I mean, you just try to, you never know what's going to relate back, but all of a sudden we were finding out information about characters we had not spoken about in months.
Yeah.
So my notes on them were way up here, and I'm taking notes on them additionally down here. And I wanted very desperately to have the ability to, as Campaign Companion has, like have a journal entry where I can then backlink into the tracker into a section where I have an NPC where I say, oh yeah, I need to add notes about that person and
Yes.
backlink that here so that I can always go here to know how to find it there,
Yeah.
which I needed to do, right? Other than just doing a Command F keyword search of my
Yeah.
craptastic document. So, anyways, just in my own use case, I found like, oh yeah, this, and to bring this back to what you were saying, yes, for me, I find value in being able to keep the journal, the text editor open, while you can then toggle back and forth between managing your entries and tracking your stuff and people.
Right. Which
Because-
is totally fair. Yeah.
Because you can backlink between, because they all do relate, and different players track things in different ways. They take notes in different ways, so not everyone's going to use that. But that's the idea. It's like, oh yeah, I have this miscellaneous item that was given to me by Madam Ava, and I've got to, and I need to make a note about that, and so you can do that.
And that was a great moment for me, like watching you go through that, because that has been one thing that I've been fighting for in the concept of this user experience is, look, there's plenty to be delighted by and uninterested in the notions and the obsidians of the world, and I get that. However, this relatively new concept in these note-taking / personal knowledge management apps is the idea that anybody can have a wiki. Anybody can have a second brain that works with like, oh this, oh yeah that, and I can get, you try to make the process seamless as far as making those connections, right? And so it was really fun to see you go, all right, that's a use case for that. Because, I think some people are going to live in folders, and that's amazing. But, some people have really latched onto this idea of, I'm calling this data right here while I'm writing. I'm not leaving where I am to find something else. It's going to pull it in, and then they're going to be joined. No tags necessary, no folders, no nothing. Just like a big, graph, really. It's just a big graph. So, fun. But,
Okay.
yeah, okay. So,
Shout
Hi,
out
everybody.
to our good friend Fitz, who's popping in for for fun,
hi,
friendship.
Yeah, fun and friendship.
All right, I'll stop
Welcome.
interrupting to the work.
It's all right.
I'll sit
All
back
right,
and
cool.
enjoy you doing the work. Here's
All
a
right, let's
happy
do some
dragon.
work. Yeah, anytime you feel like Happy Dragon time is good. So what I'm going to try, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to go into a folder, because that we've decided that's what we want to. We want to have a folder. We want to have this idea. So right now I'm going to call this sub pages. Terrible name. That's all right. I just want to kind of give the idea of them. I don't know whether we'll need this. Let's just, but we want it to have the same stuff that this has. So let's, this is not the way to do it. Anybody that is a Notion superstar, I know this is not correct. I should be just copying and moving, and I'm sure actually now there's a way to do this where you're just pulling in kind of a template. That's all right. We need to just get going. So we're gonna say Barovia Village would be meeting Granny, and then what else? We're going to be
Greasy Granny.
great.
And that's the next subpage. Is Greasy Granny.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
oh, that's the next
Greasy.
subpage.
Yeah. I like greasy. Greasy granny.
Greasy, greasy, yeasty granny. Uh,
Ew.
uh,
Oh,
ew. What?
man.
What? I didn't. What?
Yeasty
No.
granny? That's
I thought that's
horrible.
what.
I'm
Oh,
going to give
she's
you.
covered in yeast because she's a baker.
Okay. I'm going to give you angular question mark man for that one.
Actually, first we meet Ismark, right? Let's say Ismark is probably one of the first things you do when you hit Barovia Village. So let's turn him into what we want. We want to have create
Images.
time. We want to
Oh, yeah. No.
have we want to have a edited time.
Sick.
Created. We'll have a created by.
Greasy yeasty. Gross. If it says greasy
Hashtag
yeasty is old granny's rap handle.
That's true. That's true. Now here's a quick question, actually, just sort of semantics ish. Do we really need a created by if we have a last edited by? It's probably going to do the same thing. We
Is
don't
it?
really need that, do we? Well,
I
created
don't
by,
know.
unless you like really want to know who started the journal. I guess that's important too.
Is it? Well, it could.
I don't know.
I guess it could be. I mean, on the
We don't
level,
want to go nuts.
I'm not sure. Still, I'm not sure exactly what level in which this lives. But for the context um, of collaborating, it could be important on a journal entry or even the folder level to know. Probably less so the folder level, but the entry level, yeah, who created it
Okay.
could have value to a player, especially. mm, I mean, we've talked about the possibility of taking a journal entry and making that private.
Mm-hmm. We should be able to do that,
So
no problem.
so I don't know if the database needs to know, like, oh yeah, this was created by the owner of the account, and only they can make this private because you can't if you
Mm,
don't own the account, you can't make it private. Someone
that is
else's account.
fun. Okay, that's fun. Let's see. Um,
Unless you're
make.
I mean, this is thinking way. Well, don't let me derail you.
That's all right.
You're making note.
I
Okay.
just make a quick note.
I said that I would stop
Make.
talking, but I don't. What
I
the
know
hell's
you
wrong with
don't. You
me?
never do.
Jesus,
You never ever.
God
Okay.
bless America. I'm gonna
Private
shut that. I'm gonna shut up.
to the person
I'm gonna
that
shut the hell up.
created it.
Shut up.
No, that's actually. I mean, look. Every time that you talk, we have a new, probably necessary little our time, and then we're doing Ismark. Okay. All right. So let's keep it. The other nice thing is, at least for Notion, we can hide these things, so it doesn't necessarily matter. What does everybody
Right.
else
It's not
say?
data that'll be
Not
displayed.
super.
It's just it's written to the metadata tag.
Yeah, it can
Okay.
be. And so, like, yeah, with Notion, you can just, well, I don't remember how, but you can hide these things so people don't really see them. Also, dial tone, I don't remember. All right, so let's keep going. We want to have image, probably, just in case.
Sick. Oh yeah. Hell yes.
Yeah, that's what I was
Files
going to
and
say. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I was going to say is it is always better in database creations to do more
yeah.
than less. You want to be able
Yeah.
to, if you delete things, okay, that's okay. But to create them later, not as comfortable. So let's do that.
And is that because if you try to add things to an already built database that you've added content to, that you are then going to have holes in that database that you'll have to hand go in um, and add that content?
Possibly.
Whereas if you delete an entire property, you'll just delete it all off of every piece of your. Is that why? I'm asking because you've said this in the past and I've heard you, but I actually
Mhm.
don't know why it's harder.
Yeah. So what I was okay. Where are we? Sub pages, right? And that's not exactly what I want, but it's not bad. The idea is, so relations are one to many, many to one. That's kind of how you try to think about these. Is there a many to many? I think there's probably many to many. And
Mini
one to
money,
one.
mini
Yeah,
mini
yeah.
mini money.
Mini, mini. Mini, mini, money, mini. Um, oh, here we go. Real quick. Is there going to be an edit history or just a last edited by? There will be an edit history. I think that at least in Notion. So that's the good thing about this is we will have an edit history here, and then if it becomes like
Is
something, if we're testing and it's like, oh my god, thank goodness we had that edit history, then that should be something we could throw into the final app for sure.
is that something like a version control type of situation?
A little different from version control, is it?
I mean,
No,
what you
actually, no. You're right.
what was
That is
the
version control. That's like the definition of
we used
version
to
control.
we used to use something before Dropbox Paper. I forget what it was, and you could click a little button. You could see all of the reversions of the documents and like cross through what was old, color coded who did what edits, blah blah blah, and that could be important. Say if somebody comes in and edits your document and erases something that they shouldn't,
Yeah. No.
you
Yeah.
can go back and
Thanks, Fitz.
retrieve that.
I totally agree. I think that app that you're speaking of could be Airtable, which is the master of
No,
that.
no, it
Okay,
was
that's cool.
very much akin to Dropbox Paper. It was a
Okay.
text editor collaborative tool. Like I don't remember. There's been so many.
There have been so many. Many. All right, so
I drive a Mini. I drive a Mini.
I think this is the way we're gonna need to do this, but I think it is. We're gonna have to. So here's one little hiccup that I'm gonna have to figure out is that we do need a located in folder, right? That's a terrible name, but we do want to know that this subpage is inside a folder. But there's got to be an easier, a less clunky way to do this. Probably when I set up a series of templates and you click on new right here. Is that showing up? Yeah. And it says new page or new folder. The template should be smart enough to say, okay, it's on. If it's a new page and you're here, then it should automatically put you in this folder. I think that's the way it'll work. But
In
for
here.
now, yeah, exactly. Okay, so then we've got NPCs. We want that. And we want that to be a relation. Relations.
Oh, Fitz was just asking. Were you answering Fitz when about?
Edit history? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yo.
Sick.
Yeah, thanks.
Sick.
Fits. Let's see. NPCs. I'm gonna leave tags for now. Images last edited, and yeah. So let's go there for now. Here's another fun thing. I'm gonna leave this because that's created. I did create this day one Barovia pies. That was one idea that we had, is that we could just like randomly create subpages within the folder. But now with this idea, we're really thinking more. We're thinking of this database entry as a folder. That's what we're trying to kind of put together. So now I can just drag this thing that we created right into here.
Okay.
Boom. That's fun. Okay, so
Why does this one have an icon and these ones don't?
That is an awesome question. I think because it was a page. Let's see what it looks like. Well, I'm a little unclear if I open that up. Sometimes like if I open it up. Oh, I know what it is. If you have to type something in Notion, so you have to start. All I was doing there was creating the properties. You have to start the entry.
Okay. So once you do, this is kind of an indicator that this thing has content.
Exactly, because you can go down and say, all right, I want a journal entry about meeting Granny. I want to have one about Ismark. I want to have one about the zombies. I want to have this, but you don't have to fill them out until you're ready. So you get a boom, and if I hit return, then Granny is so cute. And now it's an existing page, and actually at that point, then you can do the fun stuff like at meeting Granny, right? And you can have that beautiful backlink direct connection sideways, right? So you don't have to go out and back in. You're just straight to meeting Granny. And there she is. Love it. Backlinks. Uh-oh, I want to go back to Ismark. Nice.
Boom, boom, boom.
Up in my room. All right, let's go back to this folder idea. So one fun thing is like we can set it so that folders not only have this icon, but folders come with, are more likely to have a cover image, maybe. I don't know, more indication that that's where you are. You're seeing a list of stuff.
In Notion.
Yeah, in Notion. Right. Just like different... let's add a view. I always like to kind of simplify some of this. Yeah.
Apple Watch is telling me to stand.
Okay, get up. Stand up. Don't believe the hype.
Stand up, pick up a pup, a sleeping pup, and tell him to wake up, pup. It's time to stand up. His name's Bernie. Bernie, look at the camera and have some fun. Yes, please put me back in.
Please don't. No, please don't do what you're doing. It's terrible.
I try to imagine, Bernie's voice is very clear in my mind. He kind of sounds like this. He's like, please, can I get something to eat? He sounds something like that.
Yeah.
But then, like if there's ever a time where we put the cat food down and we forgot to put up the barrier so he can't get in, he runs back there and he'll just barrel through and just knock the cats out of the way and just start going to Chowtown. And I started thinking, what does his voice sound like when he is like bullying a cat out of the way? Is he still like, excuse me, I'm going to eat this. I'd like to eat this. Or is he like, move, bitch?
Probably.
He doesn't curse in my mind.
No,
but
I don't think he's cursing.
But it did make me wonder. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Get out of the way! Move!
Help!
Move!
I've got a lot to do. You're really in my way. It's very uncomfortable.
Please.
Makes me very uncomfortable.
All right, what are you doing now?
All right, so now I'm just kind of giving us a few subpages to work with. I like this thing because, but now what we've got now is our folder concept, and then we've taken our page concept, and there's some things about the folder that we may not need, right? Like, or vice versa. Like what would you want to have the folder level do here? We're still not. Well,
like, do you need this on the folder level? Do you need that on the folder level?
Yeah, I don't know that we do, because now you had a very interesting idea. We're going to delete this for now, just because. You had an interesting idea last week and I wrote it down, but it was, is there a way, when you make changes to these subpages, is there any way to possibly populate the locations and the NPCs automatically? Because that would be super cool. Because then you're going into a folder and you're like, all right, Village of Barovia's location is marked da-da-da-da-da, right? Without having to go in here.
Let's tease that out into a use case, right? Mm-hmm. So say I'm playing Barovia. I know that I'm in the village of Barovia, right? Just like Barovia Village, and I'm looking for something there. I'm not sure what it is. There's a search feature, so I'm doing a fuzzy search. The fuzzy search, it says, okay, the location is Barovia Village. Obviously, this folder is going to come up, but if there's locations within Barovia Village that have been entered via these notes, it's going to go to this level and say, okay, you might want to look at this, this, or this.
Yeah.
Is that the idea? But is it going to do that anyway based on what's saved in here?
It will. Here's a use case that I would think of. It means that folders... It means that you don't have to think quite... Like, if you're not really sure what you're fuzzily looking for, but you're like, it could be in this folder that I had. And it would pull up the folder just as a matter of purpose. So in other words, I know that there was... I can't remember the name of this person, but I know it had something to do with Barovia Village. It's probably in that folder, but I don't know where. It could at least, or maybe at one point you're like, I don't know which folder it's in. I know that has something to do with Barovia Village. And so it would pull up the folder, and then you go into the folder and say, oh, right, it was meeting Irina. And then you can go into there. Like, her name was Irina, for example. Again, I think this is data that you can hide and not worry about. And that's why I feel it's pretty important. I would not keep it here if you had to fill it out. But if there's a way that we can kind of automatically populate these things, I'm going to go for that. I'm going to see if that's a possibility. And I think it is.
There's an interesting, between the barrier of tracker and journal, where once you create a backlink or a link and backlink, it goes, oh, that's a tag, and it adds the tag to your folder. Right. And it can know the location of where it's going. Like, say, you're writing in your journal and you write Granny, and you say, oh, I'm going to create Granny the NPC card that's going to go into my tracker.
Yeah.
And then so it says, okay, great, you created Granny. Granny's a tag.
Yeah.
Because you might want to search for Granny later.
I kind of like that.
Am I getting this?
I think so. No.
This is how I feel.
Yeah, just keep writing. I think you're definitely right, and in fact, I like this better than the idea of tags. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to, and we don't have to. We can, but we're trying to kind of offer this idea for the way a lot of multiple people work and think. And I think those are the best apps. We don't have to go out of our way to do it. But if it's easy enough to just create those possibilities, it's like one person loves tagging everything, just tag. I'm not a tagger myself. I don't do that. That's not. I actually do use folders, but I love the backlinks. And they all can kind of get you to the right place. But how does your brain work, right? Mm-hmm. And once we get to building the actual app with all of its beautiful glory, we will obviously have priorities, I think. But if we get it working the way that it appeals to more people, then I think more people will have ideas about maybe how it should be, how it should go, how they're using it, which I think is fun. And if it's no sweat off of Notion's back to to kind of have tags and backlinks and then folders and then automated, relations and so on and so forth. I think that's great. So I have removed, I like last edited, I like created on for the folder level, I like edited by, I like created by. I took away image, I don't think that's necessary. Location, I'm not, again, we want to see if these two can be automatically created. All right, so this is looking good. This is a folder with stuff in it now. Yeah.
So semantically, do you want that to say like entries?
Yeah, entries. I mean, really, this is. I mean, what it should be actually is our time in Barovia Village entries, right? Because it's in that folder. I don't know if that's possible, but let's. If that is helpful to have and think about, then we can leave it like that for a second. Because that's what we're saying. We're saying, here's your folder, and here's the stuff inside it. I like that. All right. So we've got these relations. We've got these little things. I think that's pretty good. We have. Here's all of the entries. Okay, so it's talking about semantics. Now what we're saying is this is actually called Barovia Journal, right? Because this is the journal including folders and entries, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Let's help ourselves by doing this.
Sick.
That's the journal. All right, let's see what happens. Do just a little. Maybe we end with a little filter and see what we can do.
Get a little filter.
I think in order to do that, we're gonna need to add another property, which is no one's ever gonna see it because it will definitely be part of the template. But we'll say. Type. Again, this is going to be just two things. It's either going to be a folder or it's going to be a entry. Yep. All right, so then let's just keep these.
Look at his luscious, lovely long locks.
Oh, he's so handsome. My goodness.
Luscious, lovely long locks. Strong as the kiss of ladies coming back.
Alright, so then we can do like a little filterization. And we could say journal type is folder. And then, oh, that's new. That's sexy.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. You put your filters there. So let's just go ahead and do. Oh.
Super sick. While you're doing that, Fitz has a question.
Yeah. Yes, Fitz.
Jumping off that, will there be ways to view entries in a chronological way that isn't necessarily blocked out only by geographical location? For example, our Strahd game spends years in the same house, but the Wildmount that they're playing, AK and Fitz noodle and will sometimes bamf to 3 or 4 places in one session, so the organization will be way different for them. Yeah. I mean, well, this is kind of, I guess, goes to what you're doing right now, setting up these filters to filter by last edited, oldest, newest,
Yeah.
location, like all manner of crap, right?
Yes. Exactly. Um, and I've just, let's see, folder.
Is that
Okay.
are we addressing what you're talking about, Fitz?
You'll be able to have tons of that, and probably the way to go for Campaign Companion is to really kind of use a lot of these filters, right? I think they will end up being useful. I want to see everything chronological, and maybe not folder and entry. That's pretty obvious, but
Yeah, I think there's like simple sorting and then filtering for advanced search type of situation, right? Like
yeah,
sorting just meaning I want to see oldest to newest, newest to oldest. That's potentially the chronological component that Fitz is asking for, and then oh wait, no, I need to filter it down by to get more specific because I've got
yes,
50,000 entries and I don't know where the hell I left off.
yes. All right, so I do not want to blow your mind, so you don't have to watch what I'm doing, but
Okay, I won't watch.
this is where Notion gets confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where it gets confusing.
Why you trying to blow my mind?
Trying to blow my mind.
Bernie doesn't like that.
Why not, Bernie? I don't
He
like
says,
that.
I don't like that.
Dragon. Okay.
Oh, you know what?
What?
That symbol, the dragon, that I don't know if it's kanji or that.
Uh-huh.
I just realized that's also isn't that not also the superhero symbol for the greatest American hero?
Oh.
Let's
It
see.
does look like it. It does.
I think it is. I think that's
Wow.
the intention. Everyone out there is going, greatest what? Well, guess what, guys? We're old, and we grew up in the 1980s when everything was
humans?
cool, including the television program Greatest American Hero starring William Catt. Do you know what William Catt's real name is, brother?
Katzenhammer Kid? William Katzenhammer Kid?
No, his real name is William Williams.
Oh no.
Isn't that sad? That's sad.
That's weird.
That's just weird. It's just weird. Yeah. There's something vaguely like maybe it's just the color combination, but
Uh-huh.
there's something a little disturbingly Third Reichy about the Greatest American Hero emblem and colors scheme. I don't know, right? Makes me a little uncomfortable now. Many years later. But I loved it at the time, especially the theme song. Everybody knows that.
The theme song's great. Honestly, I tried to watch it a few years ago. It does not hold up at all.
It's brutal.
Not even
it's
close to anything.
Yeah, it's
cool.
very brutal.
Yeah.
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 But William Catt, though, he was so handsome.
He was so handsome. He was cool. Actually, he was great in the horror films House, or at least the first one.
Yeah, I need to revisit House. He's also in
it's
the horror
okay.
film
It's ridiculous.
Larry.
What?
Oh yeah,
you're right. That's right.
Yeah. He's like the good guy. He's the nice guy.
He's the good guy. Yeah. Though, were there any nice guys in the 70s? I don't know. I'm not sure there were.
Oh, sure there were.
Really?
James Taylor. Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, but James Taylor was so vain, right? Didn't he think that the song was about him? He's so vain.
And he did heroin back in the 70s, so maybe he was.
So, yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, I
not
didn't have to
him.
do heroin.
The Fonz,
Okay, the Fonz.
or pretty much anybody on Happy Days. But was that
That's
the
true.
70s, or was that the 70s, 50s, 70s?
70s, 50s. Now you get
Just
it. Now
chatting.
you got it. Just chatting.
Okay.
Oh man,
we're-
Evan, please give me like a little like
Sorry.
animation graphic. Just I press this button. Just chatting. Gotta have that. Gotta have that. Just chatting. What does it say? Or no. Oh my gosh. Or no. So true. So true. Just cheating. All right. I think this is a pretty good stopping space, honestly, brother. And I'll show you what I've done. I feel pretty good about it. What we do is we're moving slow. That's okay. We'll probably have starts and whatever jumps and whatever it is. I have now given us the concept of a folder, and so this navigation link at the beginning actually had a link to the entire database at first, at the beginning of this hour. So what I've done, in order to filter things out correctly, we now have a filter view, and we've got a list of the actual, like the journal entries are just hanging out, right? But if you go into this one, okay, that's not what I want. Restore you. Okay, but if you go into here, journal master database. Oh, I think I did this last week, and I don't know why it keeps happening. So I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong.
What are you doing wrong? And why is it hurt my feelings so bad?
Anyway, basically, if I were to open this as a page, the original, this is just a cleanup thing. The original is a Barovia Journal master database now that you will never actually see, right? This is where everything's going. But you don't need to see it. Like, in Notion, we're going to hide it. We're going to have like we'll have an actual folder probably in here that says databases, right? You're not going to need to go in here because you'll be able to you'll be able to just
know about it.
Right, add a new one. Anywhere you see a filtered view, let me go back to find it. Oh, I messed it up. Sorry, I'll clean it up. In here, like if I create a new one, anywhere you see this list, any kind of thing like here, you're going to be able to create, and it will go into the master database, which is what we want. This goes to the master data. Are you allowed to say master database now? Probably not.
You know, you took the words right out of my mouth. You do not, and when you're just in the parlance of one's home, one does not say master bedroom anymore. You say your primary bedroom. So I was wondering if we want to big. Oh, that's ableist. That's ableist.
You're right.
Primary database.
There we go. Primary.
Yeah. I think we want to be on the right side of history here.
Sure. Primary database, and great. And because it worked. Look, it worked.
Oh.
Yeah, because I created it in the journal view, it's going to automatically just have an entry tag, and that feels good. That feels like a good place. If I have time to work on this before we meet again, which I hope I will, I'll do some more cleanup. And
this is starting to take shape. Before, my brain was like, I know Matt's making something, but I don't know what it is. Now this is starting to have structure, and I'm seeing it. My layman's brain is seeing it. So
well, you're not. You're an intelligent person, so you.
Well,
I never had faith.
Well,
I've never not had faith. I never had faith in you. I never didn't have faith.
I never had faith in you, ever.
I never had faith in you. I didn't think you were going to get it. I just didn't think you were going to get it. So I'm really surprised.
You were adopted.
Simply based on your understanding of databases, you're definitely adopted. No.
Yeah, mom and dad understand databases. You don't. That means you're adopted.
What if we went to visit mom and she's just started talking about Notion Airtable concepts?
What do you think her answer would be if we
there's
asked her what a
one-to-many.
database was?
Yeah, I know.
She would say,
She would say, no.
night.
Goodbye. Let's see,
Bye.
go back
All right,
to
brother.
this.
Well, good work. What do
work,
you
brother.
think we're going to tackle next time here on Pair Pods with Bivins
Ooh.
Brothers Creative?
I think we're on fire now. I think we could probably, before we leave this place, we could probably actually create the template buttons that'll do even more of this stuff automatically for us, so that when you
Okay.
click on, and we'll have them live in the campaigns themselves, so that whenever you create a new campaign, it's automatically going to set up this stuff for you, empty style, and you'll just be able to add folders and. That's my thinking. Maybe too early, but we can live large, love.
Live, love, learn well.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us, you
Love
2,
well on Peloton.
3, 4. What would you say, Peloton? What?
Live, learn, love well. That's the tagline of my favorite Peloton instructor. Shout out to Emma. Emma Lovewell in the house. Yes, as always, just we are Bivins Brothers Creative. I'm Evan. That's Matt. Find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on wherever you like to go and perform your social
YouTube.
duties. Be our friend. Please talk to us about this. Share your ideas. Share your thoughts. Reach out to us. Of course, if you have any particular needs, digital, be they data strategy, be they websites, digital marketing, whatever, you can call us and we will help. Right?
We know things. We know some things, so don't be afraid.
Okay.
All right. And Pair Pods and Drew out.